There was no way that one of my predictions for 2026 came through and we weren't going to drop a video. Drew McIntyre is officially the new Universal Champion. Let's get into it. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to another exciting episode of Simon Says Wrestling. And ladies and gentlemen, it has happened. We haven't reached 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube as of yet, but you can change that right here, right now. Hit the like button, hit the notification button, share the channel, share the videos, like, comment, subscribe, and let's grow the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's grow the channel and let's continue to talk more wrestling. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we've just gotten off one of the, I think, hottest episodes of Friday Night Smackdown. That's if you're a Drew McIntyre fan. And I don't know, I feel like I should just start off with getting this out of the way. But Drew McIntyre is the new Universal Champion after winning his 3 stages of hell. And I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy. I've been posting about it. I've been interacting with a lot of fans online. And it seems like it wasn't just me that wanted this. It seems like the whole WWE universe was ready for a change. And WWE finally delivered. They pulled the trigger. They pulled the trigger and they gave Drew McIntyre that Universal Championship. And already on the first night, we've got some interesting faces coming up. Obviously, Damian Priest made it very clear that he has a lot of history with Drew McIntyre, and if by any chance he won that title tonight, I think he would be the first to step up. Randy Orton, well, yeah, he came back and said that when Cody Rhodes wins the Universal Championship, he will be the first to come after the championship. But Cody didn't win it, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Randy Orton, because obviously having coming back to work this year after taking a whole long-ass vacation, it seems like he's more of an upstart and pushing talent at this point in time. But a lot is happening on SmackDown. A lot of exciting things are happening on SmackDown. A lot of feuds are starting to take action. And obviously with Jacob Fatu back in the picture, this is going to be an interesting 2026. So the first story that I wanted to start off with, what I already have, it's Drew McIntyre. He basically carried Cody Rhodes in this whole feud. And let's be honest, for the past 2 years, Drew McIntyre has been putting out some of his best work. And obviously with the social media attention that he's been posting and interacting online, I think it was only a matter of time. I didn't think it would be on a episode of SmackDown, but for the fact that it was in outside of Europe, I think makes it a bit more special to Drew McIntyre, because obviously he has a connection with the crowd that side. He also has a connection in the States, but it's more special when it's closer to home. So a huge shout out to Drew McIntyre. I can't wait to see the feuds that he's going to be having going forward. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. Obviously Cody Rhodes at some point is going to have a rematch. Drew McIntyre, it's gonna be one hell of a run. And if they book this right, I would love to see Drew McIntyre main event one of the 2 nights of WrestleMania this year. That would be something so refreshing to see. After having seen it, I think the last time I saw Drew McIntyre main eventing in WrestleMania was back when it was in the COVID era. So it would be great to see Drew McIntyre actually main eventing at WrestleMania in front of a live crowd. It's gonna be bananas. Shout out to Drew McIntyre. Hit the like button. Comment down below if you agree this was the best decision for the Universal Championship. Which then brings us back to Cody Rhodes. Now, in the predictions video that I made, you can go check it out on my channel for 2026. I said that Cody Rhodes needs to face adversity. Cody Rhodes needs to go on a downward spiral. Personally, I think this is the beginning of it. The way that Cody Rhodes lost that Universal Championship, obviously with the interference of Jacob Fatu, who at this point in time, it's hard to tell who his actual target is because we don't know the person that attacked him and put him out of action. All of us had a main suspect of Drew McIntyre, but it could be anyone. So for me, what was interesting is that he got so heated up that he took all his anger and frustration from Drew McIntyre and attacked Cody Rhodes. And I think maybe it was in the heat of battle, but I think in that attack taking place the way that it did, it was a bit of a hint that Cody Rhodes might know something. That's if they want to build a story into trying to turn Cody Rhodes into a heel. Personally, I don't think they're going to turn Cody Rhodes into a heel. I don't think Cody Rhodes is in any way going to be linked to what happened to Jacob Fatu. The one thing that I can say is that he is going to blame Jacob Fatu, and rightfully so, for obviously costing him the steel cage match, which was the final match when they were at a draw, which eventually led to Drew McIntyre losing. This would then have Cody Rhodes question the fact that, why did you interfere in my match? And then obviously Jacob Fatu coming back from injury, the first two people that he interacts with is Drew McIntyre, who's the new Universal Champion, and Cody Rhodes, who's the former Universal Champion, means that Jacob Fatu is going to be in for a busy year. And like I said, obviously with a lot of superstars coming back, and basically these returns are much needed. Like, they are totally needed. Jacob Fatu was an addition to the main roster that we definitely need for this year. So do we start to build a story where Cody Rhodes is starting to have issues with Jacob Fatu, or we trying to take back Jacob Fatu to that lane where he was all gas and no brakes, where it was no longer about making fans happy. It was just about all gas, no brakes, beating up everyone that you possibly can. Obviously, with Jacob Fatu coming back, we need to find out who attacked Jacob Fatu. So that's obviously going to build up into going forward. But Cody Rhodes needs to basically go through adversity. I've been advocating for this, and I hope they can execute it to such a way where we build his character, that to show that he actually has a dent in his armor. The fact that he lost the Universal Championship to Drew McIntyre, what does it do to his psyche? What does it do to his confidence and performance in the ring? For me, I would like to see Cody Rhodes basically face adversity, and obviously we'll build him up back to the Cody Rhodes that we've been having for the past 2 to 3 years, the quarterback one. A lot of people might say what they want to say, but the fact that this man, he carried the company alongside Roman Reigns was the story that they had. Roman Reigns wouldn't be able to carry the company if he didn't have a competitor such as Cody Rhodes, who put up a huge barrier and a huge challenge to push back into everything that they had during that whole Bloodline saga, and obviously Cody Rhodes coming into the WWE and challenging for the Universal Championship. We're not going to underplay the fact that Cody Rhodes carried that company with Roman Reigns. He carried the company into a new era. He basically was the biggest babyface after John Cena. So we're not going to act like Cody Rhodes is not going to go back to being the bigger, dominant superstar that he has always been. We just need to have him face a stint of adversity. If they want to build the next John Cena also faced adversity. He also kept losing matches where it was important. He put over a lot of people. The bold fraud, doing the final fraud, Johnson, obviously didn't deserve the victory that he had at WrestleMania, because basically he just came in as a part-timer. John Cena made it clear that, you know what, it's fine, let him win to get back the fans and to get back everything that's happening. So for me, he needs to face a stint of adversity. Let's not give him the Royal Rumble this year. Let's have him almost reach the end of the Royal Rumble only to get eliminated. Let's have him go into the Elimination Chamber, get defeated, and not have a direction for WrestleMania. But we need to have him, in a way, face adversity in 2026. Drew McIntyre is obviously going to cook with his feuds. Going forward, I think Drew McIntyre will be well secured in the fact that his first 3 opponents will probably be established. But I love the fact that Nick Aldis, even on this episode of the past episode of Smackdown, made it very clear that, you know what, I think it's time now that we got you an opponent going forward. Made a fatal 4-way. I think it's going to be at I think it's Saturday night's main event. The winner of that one will be the #1 contender for the Universal Championship. Already we've got the ball rolling for competitors against Drew McIntyre, and it's already stacked. It's already stacked. I don't care who wins this Fatal 4-Way. I don't care who wins this tournament. But the fact is, Drew McIntyre is feeding nations for the time to come. Another interesting match took place, obviously, with the Wyatt 6 versus the MFTs. Like I've been saying, the Wyatt's MFTs, it's getting to a point where we have no direction as to what we're trying to achieve with both groups. Obviously, the MFTs picking up the victory in this instance. But at the end of the day, it's almost like Solo Soko has played the mind games that Uncle Howdy's supposed to be playing. So it was very interesting to see how we picked up the victory in that instance. And it will be very interesting to see going forward what we do with the MFTs and the YS6. For me, I think let's just have this feud wrapped up by the next PLE. They can have whatever storyline they want to push, but then we need to establish their groups separately going forward. So we'll see what they do with them, and we'll see how they take this whole thing. Trick Williams is a new addition to Friday Night Smackdown. Giovanna Evans is a new addition to Monday Night Raw. Although they did the boy dirty by obviously having his contract signing take place during a commercial break. Yeah, I don't know. That was just weird. But the fact that NXT superstars are being called up to the main roster in the way that they are now, for me, shows you that NXT at some point, well, basically is firing on more cylinders than what Friday Night SmackDown and Monday Night Raw did. My biggest fear is the underutilization of this talent that they've acquired on the main roster. We all know the main roster has a tendency to call up NXT superstars and obviously derail them completely of whatever stardom they were destined to be, all for the point of experimentation. So it'll be very interesting to see how Triple H utilizes them. And the irony is that at some point NXT was ran by Triple H, where you had some of the biggest and best talent were called up to the main roster and fumbled by Vince McMahon. So now we have Shawn Michaels running NXT. Obviously Triple H calling them up to the main roster, and he's the one fumbling the main talent. But obviously, like I've been saying for the longest of time, wherever there's corporate, wherever there's numbers, and wherever there's fan sale t-shirts or merchandise wars, obviously the numbers are always going to speak for the superstars. Doesn't matter how talented they are. I guess this is where the field is a bit more uneven. Obafemi vacated his NXT championship, which leads me to believe he has a main roster call-up. And I would say that it's warranted to call him up to the main roster, but it also makes it look like the NXT division doesn't have anybody that can take the title off of him. Obviously, Ricky Saints had taken the title off of him. What was the use of Obafemi retaining the title if he's just gonna relinquish the title back again? You should have just left it with Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints should have just beaten Obafemi. After beating Obafemi, Obafemi goes on a bit of a vacation or a long break, so to say, comes back, and then just debuts on the main event roster. It doesn't make sense for them to give the title back to Obafemi to only vacate it. But I guess this is the impression that they've gotten from his match that took place against Cody Rhodes. So it's great additions to the roster. It's great additions with great talent. We will see how they utilize them. But obviously, if they fall under the whole WWE curse of being underutilized, then it's gonna be a train wreck. The tag team division on SmackDown is obviously starting to heat up again. Johnny Gargano played one of the craziest pranks that I've ever seen. For the fact that Axiom, I think it's one of the members of Faxion, was turning on the other member, but it was just Johnny Gargano underneath the mask. For me, it almost gave me a mini heart attack. When that moment happened, I was like, whoa, how did we get here? But it seems like Johnny Gargano and obviously Tommaso Ciampa are gonna be beefing and feuding with Faxion. Obviously, that's a story of personal issues and personal rivalry taking place. Obviously, believing the fact that Tommaso and Johnny Gargano believe they are better than what Faxion has to offer, keeping them busy. Jordan Grace, I hope I'm saying her name right. If I'm not, I'm sorry, has also been called up to the main roster. And Jade Cargill made her presence felt, letting her know that this is her show, and she literally is that B word on that show. So it'll be interesting to see with the amount of talent that they are releasing and putting into the main roster from NXT, how all of these, and I think she's a TNA superstar. She's not a TNA superstar, but yeah, TNA super. Like sometimes I forget that there's a relationship between TNA and WWE. There's a whole women's division in the TNA. Let them come through. Let them challenge for the major titles, because obviously all the efforts have been placed into the Raw tag team division side of things. And a huge shout out to Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for obviously capturing the women's championships. Two of the biggest and best superstars, female superstars on that brand, have the tag team champions. They have a chance to elevate that title going forward. And huge shout out to them. We'll see how they challenge against people like Lash Legend and Nia Jax, who I think are the next up in line for those tag team championships. The other thing that I also picked up on and that I actually liked, well, I didn't like the end result of the match, because I thought by the end of the night Becky Lynch would then be aiming for a bigger title, as in like the World Heavyweight Championship for Stephanie Valkyrie. But it seems that Stephanie Valkyrie is now going to be preoccupied with Raquel Rodriguez, who attacked her while she was wearing a moon boot. I don't know whether it's an injury that she sustained in one of the matches, but I hope she's okay and she can heal through and then just come back to the ring as soon as possible. I don't want to see her title reign ending because of an injury. It's gonna suck to see that happen. But it seems that Stephanie Valkyrie's closest opponent now is Raquel Rodriguez, and I don't mind it. I honestly do not mind. I think they have great chemistry in the ring, and I think with Nikki Bella out of the way at this point in time, we can have a one-on-one match, and eventually probably try to put the title on Raquel Rodriguez to put more drift into the Judgment Day, to say that Liv Morgan is going to be jealous of what Raquel Rodriguez is achieving on her own. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that whole scenario out. The Raw Tag Team division, obviously, with the Usos having the titles now, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the first opponents. Comment down below. Let me know who you think should be the Usos' first challenge going forward, and obviously trying to elevate the tag team division. Finn Balor has been very active. Is a name that's been brought up so many times in the past 2026 so far. And I think it's time we return Finn Balor to the original Prince, the demon that we know that he can be. He's been a supporting act. He's been basically building up the Judgment Day, and I think he's the oldest and most experienced in that group. And I think it's time we detach him and then start to build him up to the Finn Balor that we know and that we respect. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens to the Judgment Day and how the Stephanie Valkyrie's injury change the trajectory of the women's division on Monday Night Raw. Also, another notable return was Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder. I don't know what the play is when it comes to that instance. The fact that they start his theme song with Woo Woo Woo, You Know It, which was Zack Ryder's main theme song, and then change the play to his obviously current theme song. I don't understand what the direction is, and it seems that it's a bit of a confusing state. He made it clear this week that he's gonna come back for championships. Which championship is coming for, I don't know. Personally, I would see him challenging for the United States Championship, the Intercontinental Championship. For the World Heavyweight Championship and the Universal Championship at this point in time, it's gonna be a very tough and steep mountain for him to get up onto and try to challenge for those championships. He's made a great name for himself outside of the WWE. He's built as such an incredible fan base, and obviously he has Chelsea Green as his wife. So obviously that's a W. Like, he's been picking up W's for the past years that he's been out of the WWE. But I don't think he's quite at the standard where he can challenge for the Universal or the Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, it would be great to see him challenge for those, but with the superstars that we're looking at against Drew McIntyre, it would be an oddball, a welcomed oddball to see him challenge for that Universal Championship. Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, 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 S I don't know, with Sami Zayn, it's starting to feel more and more like we just need to let go of the heavyweight championship story. We need to let go of the whole championship material, having won the only title, having won this title, need to win this title angle with Sami Zayn. There's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of challenges for that spot. And Trick Williams making his debut and giving Sami Zayn that kind of promo on his first night just lets you know that it's going to be some stiff competition for that Universal Championship. And I think we're seeing the revival of Friday Night Smackdown. If they can keep it at this pace and they can keep it at this intensity and just include stories going forward, I think SmackDown will then obviously return back to its former glory. But the fact that it's 3 hours, it's 3 hours long, that doesn't play in their favor. But I believe that with Drew McIntyre heading everything at the forefront, we're in for some great storytelling. Do I still think Seth Rollins needs to win the 2026 Royal Rumble? Definitely. He definitely needs to win the Royal Rumble this year. Braun Breaker was unable to capture the heavyweight championship from CM Punk. And yeah, one of the predictions that didn't pull through. But I believe that we're building up superstars. And going forward, it'll be interesting to see how Braun Breaker responds to this. But if at least by the Elimination Chamber or the Rumble itself, if we have that title around Braun Breaker, I'm still pushing for Braun Breaker to be World Heavyweight Champion before the Royal Rumble. I'm still pushing for it. I'm still advocating for it. This was a minor hiccup in the road to that success. And obviously with the Vision's interference in the whole match, at some point I started to feel that, oh, he's definitely not going to win this match because there's too much interference. I think when he wins this match, we need the Vision to not be at ringside. We need Braun Breaker against CM Punk. That was one of the best main events that I've seen in a while. And I loved every minute of it. And I didn't love the outcome, but I wasn't angry about it. And I just really hope that by the Royal Rumble, we have Braun Breaker as the World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, it's just like I'm literally going off of stories that I've seen online. I haven't actually watched the whole episode of Friday Night, but like I was just so excited about Drew McIntyre winning that Universal Championship and excited about the prospect of him having great matches coming through. And it's an exciting time on SmackDown. And I feel like SmackDown can once again overtake Monday Night Raw if they play their cards right and if they play their stories right. They have the talent now. They have the NXT superstars at their disposal. Utilize them, use them, and let's build up that brand once again. Monday Night Raw has always been stellar. I think for the past couple of weeks, Monday Night Raw has been a better show than SmackDown, but SmackDown is starting to get back into the flow of things, of trying to get everything back on track and then competing with Monday Night Raw. Let me know what you guys think about Drew McIntyre winning the Universal Championship. Comment down below. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much for the support, guys. Thank you so much for the interactions. Thank you so much for the views. We're currently at 64 subscribers. If we can at least have 70 subscribers by the end of next week, that would be great. It's just 6 more subscribe buttons. Hit those buttons, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what caught your attention. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow as well when I'm dropping the second part of my 5-part docu-series, just basically going through the longest serving WWE superstars to basically just list their accolades. We had Sheamus on last week Sunday, did some good views on that one, and obviously I'm only gonna reveal the superstar I think Sunday morning before recording, and then I'll hit up the clues on my social media. It'll be very interesting to see if you guys can guess who the superstar is. It's a female this time. It's a female. We're shouting out the female. Thank you all so much for the love. Thank you all for the support. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And as always, let's talk more wrestling. Peace.